Welcome to Tales from the Tap. My name is Frankie, and this is my co-host,
Stan the Man.
And we are excited to talk to you about a lot of different Magic events, especially for our 50th episode. We're going to talk about the Pro Tour. We're going to talk about the RC that just happened. But Stan, before we do, how about those SpongeBob secret layers?
Oh, so
I'm going to
good.
counter your spell.
Speaking of counter spells, I got to get a playset of the Dazes. And the thing that's annoying is I don't actually want to buy the secret layer, but I'm really hoping because Daze sucks in Commander that like a lot of my Commander guys buy the secret layer and are just like, I don't want these. And I'm just like, yes.
Yes, give them to me.
Because like unironically, if I get 4 Dazes, I'm just going to build Delver. I'm going to buy 4 Volcanic Islands. I'm just going to have it. I'm going to stop borrowing it from Todd. But yeah, I mean, also speaking of Legacy, got to go play at the Mana Vault this past weekend. So I actually got to play Magic for once. Went out with Goblin Ringleader and Sal from MTG Chicago, the guy who's been doing our thumbnails and letting us use the camera, doing our editing. Drove out to Chicago with him, and Alex Luke came with us.
And he remembered to say Chicago, just the way
Chicago.
I hate it.
It's because he's not Mexican. He doesn't understand about that Chicano language. Anyways, yeah, it was a good time. Speaking of Dazes and getting this much of a secret layer, I played some Delver. It was a great time. I really, really like Legacy. Some of the decks are kind of boring, but overall the format just kind of feels fun. And we'll talk about it later with Pixie, but like Delver is just like really fun right now. Although I got paired against Jack actually, and just got completely dumpstered. We did a little short about it with my Mean Girl shirt and everything. Comments were funny, but yeah, Cavernous Souls, man, what a fucking card. Because like against Goblins, I have to like bring out 9 cards. They're all counter spells. I'm like, okay, all these come out. And then I just have to hope to not die. And then game 2, I just like was missing land drops, and I had Hydro Blasts, but I was like forced to kill. He got to Muxus, so I was like, oh, I guess these are not good anymore. Killed 2 guys, hope to not die. I lost game 1 with 3 Darcys, 2 Flip Delvers, and an 8/8 Questing Druid. And he was like at 4 life, and I was like, okay, I will kill you next turn, because I was digging for Lightning Bolt, couldn't get one. And then he goes, combo, which is like the Snoop infinite combo with I can't remember the black card, Bogart something. You get to like put a goblin on top of your deck, and then you look for Kiki Jiki, go crazy. That was a fun time though. Oh my god, speaking of which, Legacy is so weird. So I played against this kid. I felt really bad because I like chalice checked the fuck out of him. You know what that is?
Yes.
Yeah, so I felt really bad.
I've had Sal tell me a few times when he's been tilted by someone chalice checking him. I've heard him rage about it, so.
I respect the chalice check because sometimes you just got to put cards in the graveyard, so I'm trying to fill up my Murktide anyway.
Yeah.
But I felt so bad. So like, I felt less bad because the kid got every game chalice on turn 1. And he went first in first turn and third, first game and third game. So he goes chalice on 1. And I had a Force of Will, so I was like, okay, counter it. And then the next turn he does it again. I was like, "Yo, you got it." But I think because I countered the first one, he like in his head was like, "Oh, it's gone." And so we got to a point where he had a Galarian Freshwaker in play, and I'm just like, I did the thing obviously that we talk about, where like you put the card on top of their card really aggressively. I was like, "Bolt your guy," and he's just like, "Yeah, he's dead." And I was like, "Okay, cool." Combat trigger on my Custom Druid, attack you. And then he's like, and then he goes, like he noticed it, I think. And then the next turn, I go Delver, and he's like, yeah, you got a Delver. And I'm just like, all right. And then I attack him, and he's like basically 1 turn from lethal. The Delver was just extra at that point because I had a Murktide, but he goes, the Delver shouldn't even be there. I'm sorry, bro. And then game 2, he chalices me again, but this time my hand's all 1-drops, so I'm just like, yeah. I played a land, drew a price of progress. He goes Dotnots here. I'm like, let's go to the next one. I'm not even going to show you my hand. And then game 3, same idea. He goes chalice on 1, and that game was a lot closer. But because I was able to like actually maneuver through it with not all 1-drops, that was what like I felt really bad. He got chalice on 1 out, but I had double Wasteland, and I also got to ponder first. So because I had lost game 2. I was like, ponder, set myself up. I don't care about the chalice anymore. Wasteland you. And after double wastelands, his third land was Ayavugan. So I was like, oh, well, no mana for you. Also, he gave me, he played Yavimaya, so like all 3 games, he was giving me the green I need for Questing Druid, which really smooths your mana out. And Delver, let me tell you, that one drop is like horrendous. And I was just like, Questing Druid. He's like, I was like, up. Yavimaya, buddy.
Your cards. Bro.
Your card.
Your card.
It's like the old, when you feel like, when you used to like tap your fetch lands in Modern with somebody's Urborg, they would be like, it's a fetch land, Urborg. But, okay, so the same guy, he was really cool. I played against his father after I lost to Jack. Actually, this guy and I were sitting next to each other. So at the Manimal, they have like this streamer room. And him and I were sitting next to each other in the streamer room, round 1. Because there was so many people. Like, Manimal, I thought it was going to be like a big store. It's actually kind of like a tuna can. Smaller than my space. They just really crammed the tables in there. 64 seats. It's tight. But it's like comfortable tight. Like the seats are really nice and the tables are nice.
Yeah.
So even though you're like cramped, when you're actually playing, it's not like what's that one place, Medical Man Gaming, where like I couldn't feel my legs.
Yeah. First Aid Comics.
Yeah, First Aid Comics. That place was like the worst. Love the store. Love Raul. Great people. If you're into comics, it's a good store. But man, their chairs just fucking suck. So like my legs would go numb. And at Manival, it was like really comfortable. They had nice chairs, good tables, coasters. Next door, they have like a super awesome bar. Can't say enough good things about it. It's a really good place to play Magic, and I really like. I was like taking photos of stuff that I saw that they were doing for like the tight space, doing well. I was like, I gotta steal some of these ideas for myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool guys, and the owners are really cool. Met them. So me and this guy's dad that were playing, we're in the streamer room, because they just had everybody playing tight. And I'm listening to the guy's plays, but I'm not like actually looking at his deck. And I can just remember being like, what's going on over there? But I was losing round 1 to Death and Taxes, which is like also a bad Delver matchup. So I was more focused on my game. When we paired against each other, hey, weren't you in the stream room with me? I'm like, yeah, I was. And he's like, oh, okay, for sure. And he had just lost to Delver that round. So I think theoretically his deck is kind of bad to Delver, but like what he was playing is just kind of bad in general. He was playing like a tier 3, really bad legacy deck, and at this point I was like...
It's a Gabe deck?
It was a Gabe deck for sure. But like it kind of made me even want to play it. So his deck was like Esper. I shit you not, he was playing Momentum Breaker.
Okay.
You know what that is?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, it's in Pixie.
In Pixie, yes.
It's from Aether Drift.
Yeah, 2-drop. like I guess like Chainer's Edict and stuff like that used to get played back in the day, but like that's more of like a popper card. But yeah, like 2 mana removal. Omen of the Season is in his deck, and it's a Yorion Esper deck.
That's barely playable in Pioneer.
Right. So he's like a Yorion Esper deck, and it's a Blink deck, and he has Aminatu in it with Small Teferi to like bounce back his enchantments and then play him again. And
that sounds awful.
It was crazy bad, but I ended up losing to it because I don't remember the games where I was killing him. He just hits Terminus, and we'll talk about Terminus later for Modern. But Terminus is kind of making a big comeback in the game in general. And yeah, so like game 1, I'm like crushing him. Terminus flips my board. Yorion blinks all his guys, and then Momentum Breaker, the life gain. That's what really kills you. I'm like, why does this card gain you life? So every time I'm like, I just gotta top like a bolt. Oh, never mind. He's got 3 speed. So yeah, that was my day at the Mana Ball. It was a really good time. But even though I lost the tournament, I'm not one of these complete losers on Twitter that are just fucking complaining about the SpongeBob Secret Lair. I had even like my Pokemon players, I saw some of them on Twitter through the store Discord, flaming like the people that were like, I can't believe this SpongeBob Secret Lair, blah blah blah. I'm like, these are cool. Like, it's not like the best they could have done. I think there was definitely better ideas, but like the Inevitable Betrayal with like Patrick, looming, the counter spell is really good. The Daze is S tier. My favorite one and Winter's favorite one, actually, because I showed her in the morning, was the Night's Whisper. I just wish it was like a better card, like more playable.
Yeah, the one with
but it's like his
Squidward,
eyes. Yeah, Squidward, just like Nice. That one is so good. That's such a good card. For the flavor.
Yeah, I guess if I had to wish anything for the SpongeBob Secret Lair, because at this point I'm like, it's all coming into magic.
Yeah.
This is happening, no matter if I want it or not. But I wish they gave some like deep takes.
Yes.
On SpongeBob, because SpongeBob was so popular that like even some of the deep cuts people would have been like.
That's why I wanted it to be a standard set. When they announced it, and it was a Secret Lair, not a standard set. Like, I would have rather had SpongeBob instead of either Spider-Man or Avatar, easily. And don't get me wrong, I like Spider-Man, I like Avatar, but I would have been willing to wait for a standard SpongeBob set. I was telling Gabe, I was like, they should have done it like Weiss does, and been like seasons 1 through 4, and then next year it'd be like seasons 5 through 8.
Yeah, I feel like, okay, if we're gonna live in the realm of these things that I hate, because I just hate all of it, I feel like Avatar is like close enough in like some of the planes that we have for magic. So I'm like, okay, but like Spider-Man, the thing I agree with you on with SpongeBob is I feel like there's more to find within SpongeBob than there is with Spider-Man. Like what? After you have all the characters all the characters and villains, like what else are you doing?
Sure. Yeah, I'm curious how they'll go about it, because they've done some curious. Some of the artworks have been kind of cool with the spoilers, art style, direction, etc. Honestly, I'm just excited for all of it. I think it's good for the game. As a store owner, I think it's good for like stores. It's a good product. It'll get more casual audience into the game too. And growing the game is always cool for me because I just want more people to play with. Yeah. But yeah, like you said, what all can you do with Spider-Man? I was telling people, I was like, I just want a JJJ card really bad. J. Jonah Jameson. I was like, that's what I want to see. Like, what does he look like as a card? And then I think Todd was one that told me, but there's actually no Planeswalkers in Universes Beyond sets typically, because it's supposed to be that Planeswalkers are unique to Magic, and the Universes Beyond is like what Magic would look like on their realm. Almost.
Sure.
So it's mostly like legendary creatures, how they wield mana, etc. So that, I guess that's kind of interesting. But man, I don't know if you saw the spoiler for that Spider-Man that's like only in the commander deck or whatever. It's like commander only Spider-Man that like puts stun counters.
Oh yes.
That card I thought was standard legal for a second, and I was like, holy crap.
You were like,
I literally was like, dude, it's a recall with Sleep Curse Fairy, and then it also is like immediately untapping. I was so ready to be like, attack with Spider-Man, tap your best guy, draw 3 cards off my Sleep Curse Fairy. You know what I mean? Like, that would have been so crazy. It's like what
the Dream Do Frog wanted to be.
Yeah. I mean, Frog is great for what it's worth. It's just like competing with like Pixie and Red Green Aggro. Like, standard is crazy right now.
Do you think that Spider-Man card belongs in Pixie?
Ironically enough, probably would have. Probably would. It is Azorius. Also, it probably would have been so good with Flood Pit Genre. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
But yeah, what a man. I just kind of wish that card was legal. But anyways, too strong maybe. Who knows? Aether Drift though, kind of flying by.
I just couldn't believe that. Like,
well, you've been so busy.
Yeah, I saw someone on Instagram today go, "How the f is it March 11th?" And I was like, yeah, I mean, like 3 months have gone by, and Aether Drift felt like it just got here.
Yep.
And I checked today for this episode. 1 month from today, we have Tarkir.
Yes.
And I was like,
I'm actually really nervous because I didn't know it was coming that soon. And I planned a really big event for a different card game the same weekend as pre-release. So I'm like, well, I'm going to just have to do that. I'm going to have to do both.
I'm going to have to pray.
I'm just going to have to do it. I'm going to have to juggle. And also, like tonight, we just had standard. Before you got here, I was doing the standings, typing up the spreadsheet. And I was like, week 5 of 8. I already knew it was going to be a short season, like 8 weeks. Like, those are like about as short as they get, 2 months apart. I said, 5 of 8. Oh, we're just done with Aether Drift. Like, it's just over. Which could be a good thing if you're one of the Aether Drift haters. I know Aether Drift has not been getting a ton of love online. Personally, I like this set, but I can understand why people have qualms with it.
Yeah, I think that there are some leaming issues within Aether Drift as we predicted, but I came in so low that I was like, oh, this is better than like Thunder Junction and like some of the bad ones from last year. So like I can't complain too much.
Yeah, the limited format not that bad, especially compared to like some of the worst ones from last year.
Yeah, it's
but
just that
the
some
standard play I thought was like fine. A lot of really cool constructed cards. Can't say enough things about Ketramos.
Yeah, some good stuff came into the format from Aether Drift. I just into standard. I think probably what a lot of people gripe about online is that as we predicted, green was very powerful. But B is that like some of the rares just feel egregious. Like
For limited,
yeah, it's like if you get Frog God, it's like okay, I have Ride's End and that, or the -6/-6, which is a terrible card, and like the turn it comes down.
And we knew that play boosters were going to make the rare mythic slot a bit more impactful. That when this kind of set happens, where like the rares are so much more lopsided, because it does feel like for Aether specifically, the rares are a bit more lopsided. Where usually we're like, oh, common and uncommon, which ones can we snag? In this set, I feel like it's actually leaned power level enough, like what you were saying, where certain rares are just like actually pack one pick ones now, and you're just like you just build around it. Why not?
Oh yeah, there is tons of pack one pick ones that are just rares, which are good. Like they're very strong. It's just that normally I find that they build more answers into the set. Like the fact that there's only one exile removal in the whole set in white, which is the worst color, is like awful. Like you don't want to be in white.
It's not like the greatest removal spell for limited either. Like you can't really like the whole your guy has to be tapped or attacking removal spell is usually kind of mid. Like Ariad's Lullaby, if you remember that. Like you're just like, oh God, come on, man. Like it's already killing me. Like, is there anything else? And like for what it's worth, Ride's End is pretty strong. I mean, like obviously for standard, like we're seeing
it's good at beans.
The gameplay.
Yeah, good at beans.
But yeah, I feel like for beans, it's like the fact that it's a 5-drop more than how good of a removal spell is it.
Well,
Exile is terrific. Though.
Exile matters so much for red.
Yeah.
In this season, that like
in general, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of graveyard stuff going on.
Because before it was Seized in Slumber, which was tap kill.
Yeah.
Which is like you're like, cool. I guess I'll just take 3 from this.
Heartfire Hero. What a messed up card.
Yeah, that card's so dumb. I hate him.
Somebody was saying something at Standard yesterday, and they were like, Heartfire Hero is like something like evil, and I was like, no way, bro. He's a hero. He's literally heroic. And then Dom goes, no, he's valiant. I'm like, oh yeah, you're right.
But good joke.
But yeah, did you actually before we segue into housekeeping, you went to MagicCon, right?
Yeah.
How was MagicCon?
So MagicCon this year was really cool. I actually love the creator tables upstairs. Like they made like a whole giant Bloomborough wall and like had like in like as if like Bloomborough had a bar, like looking tables for people to play on.
Very cool.
And that stuff was really sweet. I also found that the gameplay this year, they put it in the murder basement, which was kind of scary because like we're in this basement downstairs.
Yeah, where we went to the restroom last time.
Yes.
Yep.
But all of the gameplay was down there. And so
I'm so glad they actually used that space this time though.
Because they didn't.
It was just empty last time. I remember just going on there like you said, murder basement.
Yes, and despite the fact that I kind of feel like it was a mistake to put everyone on companion for the PTQs because there were 400 plus people in both, and there were, of course,
they used Event Link for the Pro Tour.
They companion.
Yeah, Event Link.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So very brave.
It took us a half hour to start day 1, and then by day 2 they had it figured out.
Nice. I mean, for what it's worth, I do like Event Link as a store owner. I use it a lot. It's assuming they can scale the functionality. It's way preferable to Melee.
Yeah, way better.
Leaps and bounds.
Yeah, but of course there were still like tech issues and like the judges needed to get it sorted out. But it was way better than last year.
Yeah. I heard the murder basement got kind of musky because it's like not as ventilated as the other rooms.
Yes. And so that was really cool. I actually felt like I got really magicked on my PTQs.
Sure.
Like day 1, I had a good deck and like lost. Like I was at 4-2 and I was like, all right, I win 2. I'm making day 2, and then ended up not happening. Well, that's not true. 1-6-2 made it, but I was prizing at least. Mm-hmm. The thing that sucked was that day 2, my deck was better, and I just drew like crap.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And that felt kind of rough, you know, when you like build a deck that you're like this. Like I looked at it and I was like,
Yeah, I remember seeing your pool and being like,
I was
"Ooh."
like, this is a day 2 deck. Like
That
I
was
just
like
have
a
to-
humana.
Yeah, right. Humana.
But no, literally, I thought your deck was kind of cracked. I was like, damn, that's a good pool. Especially because you had like the Gear Hulk too.
Yeah,
The
and that
green
could-
white Gear Hulk is crazy.
And I had 2 creatures to snag, which
Yeah.
is also awesome. So that was kind of a bummer, but I felt like I played good Magic. I didn't feel like I was like making mistakes. I felt like I was really prepared for Aether Drift, which was sweet. And then playing in that, like, I actually thought about this for the store of like something that you could do when things get tired. That draft sealed event that I did, they called it draft sealed. So what we did is like based off of how many players there were, we put 7 different packs from different sets all over the table, and then each player would go around and draft what pack they wanted in their sealed pool. And so first person would pick, like I picked I forget, one of the mastered sets.
Sure.
Was like my first pick.
That's how the Festival in a Box was.
Yeah.
We did that here at the shop once, where you had to like draft the packs that you were drafting with.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
The only thing, sorry. So anyway,
You're good,
that
man.
was really awesome, and that was fun. And I had a sweet black white deck, and I went 3-0, and that was really cool. The thing that
Was that the one that you did with the creators? Or was that just like
No.
a separate?
no,
actual
it was
thing?
separate. I did it with our people. It was like Henry and
Oh,
Amanda,
yeah.
and
Nice.
yeah, we just like all like jumped in and did an event together, and that was like after I finished the PTQs.
Nice.
The thing though that was awful, like the only thing that was truly awful, was that they really skimped on prize support. So last year, I think that Will got like $125 or $500 for placing within the PTQ.
Yeah.
For sealed. Any, like, if you place within top whatever 124 or 165, like Richard, he got like half of a box for prizing. That was the lowest prize was packs, and
Last
it was
year.
all packs. No, this year.
Oh, only
Last year it
packs.
was money. You got money for like
Interesting.
being 125th or whatever. Now you got packs. And I was
Sure.
like, we paid $125 to be in this
just to
sealed
walk
event.
in or for the entry.
For the entry for the event.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like when you do a sealed RCQ, it's $55 or $60. It
Right.
was double.
Yeah.
And we had 400 people,
Sheesh.
and they're giving out packs at the like lowest prize payout. There was no cash for anyone. Like if you qualified for the Pro Tour, you were getting collector booster boxes.
At least collectors is like something, but yeah.
Yeah, there were 2 guys that went upstairs. He sold 2 of them, and he got like $400, which
Yeah.
is like great because he's going upstairs and selling it. But,
Right.
like, just give cash.
Right.
I don't understand.
I think they probably didn't want to deal with the logistics of giving cash. How do you write that off? Blah blah blah.
I guess.
If they give away enough cash, they always want to write it off. I mean, Hasbro just did the thing where they sent everybody. I forgot what the type of form was, but the tax form.
The tax form
for the
winning boxes online.
Yeah, for winning boxes on Arena, the 5,000 gem entry event.
I know.
It's already such a ripoff.
I just did them, and Gabe convinced me because
Yeah.
he's like, well, if you just put in $50, you can get into 2 events,
Yeah.
and it's 2 boxes. So you win one, that's $250.
Right.
And I was like, well, that math really matters.
It's like decent, except there's no price support. It's literally just win 5, get like your entry back.
Oh, it's win 5 and get 200 gems.
Yeah.
Win 6, get your entry back.
Yeah.
Win 7.
Oh, it's 7 now?
Yeah,
okay.
7 is your
Yeah,
boxes.
7 is the box. 6 gets your entry back. You can't have 2 losses. And then 0 through 4, which 0 is fine, whatever. But like 1 through 4 wins, like 4 wins, 0 prize. It's like not even coins, not even anything. Like
Yeah.
what a scam. Arena, I have uninstalled it months ago. I haven't opened it in months. And I just do what you do, where I started seeing you practice Moto standard, and I was like, why am I not just doing that? I already do Moto every other format, and at first I had like this cope in my head, like, oh, probably for standard Arena's better. Fuck Arena. It's such a garbage platform.
The only time I'm gonna use Arena for standard, I was actually thinking about doing this again, is because like recently I've been trying to like get to plat and TFT so that Julie and I could play together.
Yeah.
But like, and I like TFT and I can just run it while I'm playing. But I was like, I should just play standard games.
Right.
And then like I just run standard over and over and over.
Well, you
and
also
over.
play on your phone.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I could do it while I'm in the office and being like, oh, I'm on a call, scroll, typing, click
Yeah,
go,
if I was doing it on my phone, I might consider it, but I've been just doing Pokemon Pocket.
Oh.
Like and it's so much faster too. Like you go to the restroom, you're just like, all right, time to go.
Yeah.
10-second game or whatever. But yeah, I'm just like, I'm so done with Arena. I just feel like it's so garbage. And Daybreak, for what it's worth, isn't doing that bad with Moto. I think they're doing a decent job. Supposedly,
a couple gray hairs in here,
bro. Literally, when I got the haircut, I was telling Winter, I was like, "Oh man, this better come in like Mr. Fantastic, or I'm gonna be fucking pissed."
Okay, so that's funny you say that because I have like over here, there's like one of my strands like up in my thing, but, like, and I was like, "Ooh, the pepper's coming."
Yeah. Winter's like, "What are you so stressed about?" And I was like, "You."
And my girlfriend was like, "Oh, it's because of your divorce." I was like, and Sabrina, she's also divorced, so I was like,
"Base,
man, you're a savage."
That's funny.
I love it.
So then you're like, "Where's yours?"
Yeah, and true. I was like, I love that about her. She's like super super kind, but like has such sharp wit.
Yeah.
That will just like come out of nowhere, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah. It's gotta come from your own people. You can't be letting random strangers hurt your feelings.
Well, man. That just makes insert blue skies joke here. Like, like the internet hasn't learned that one yet.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Okay, we'll jump into housekeeping.
Yeah,
Small
now that
talk
we
kind of went a
30
little rambling.
minutes.
Hey, whatever. You guys are here for the ride.
Yeah. Okay, so first off, if you'd love our show and you'd like to support us, the best way to do that is the Patreon. Patreon.com/Tales from the Tap. If you stands over here, just gonna make me laugh. Stop it. So if you want to do a little extra and support the show, please go ahead and subscribe there. We have some bonus perks. Stan hasn't picked out my anime yet, but the top tier,
I'm gonna make Frank watch
anime and comment on it. Mm-hmm. We currently have one person, and he's like, "All right, come on, I'm ready. Give me."
I don't know. I haven't decided if I want to do like a Discord watch party yet, or like actually sit down and like record us watching it. So we'll figure that out. I got to figure out the logistics, but that's like a new thing at the top tier.
We got it. The episodes are building.
Exactly. But we do coaching, we do cyber guides, we'll run your deck for you in a league. We'll watch you play a league of Moto. We do all kinds of stuff. We just want to help
early
you
access
get
to
better.
The show, early access.
Yeah, the lowest tier, I think, or the second lowest tier, you just get early access to the show. It's always on Patreon first. So, you get it a day early. For those that care.
And our notes.
And our notes.
For those of you who are readers.
Our notes are pretty good. These are kind of bland, but usually I have extra time. I'm just sitting there cooking, put some funnies in the notes.
It's a lot of statistics in this one.
But most of these are literally links and then stuff that I posted in Discord, which segue into the next part. Join our Discord. It's free access. We post a lot of info in there. A lot of our strongest soldiers are always posting info in there. One of our buddies just got 125th at the RC this past weekend. So
and a buddy we know got 14th.
Yeah, actually, our other friend got 14th, which is awesome because now he's in the Pro Tour.
I'm so happy.
So proud for him. He deserves it too.
And he's awesome.
He's such a good player. I've known him since he was like 13, and even back then he like showed the signs of being like a really good player. Now that he's like on the Pro Tour officially,
and he's so nice.
Yeah, he is. I love Will. He's got the funniest laugh too. You ever hear him laugh at the shot? He was here Monday for standard, and every time he laughs, I'm just like, yeah, I know who that is.
Well, and I felt like when he made it, I was like, I can make it. Because I've been his raid boss for standard this season.
Well, yeah, seeing all you guys competing and doing well, it makes me wish I had more free time. I wish I could play, man. Like, I'm like, dude, this would be so much fun to like actually grind events.
We gotta plan around it. Or once the new store is popping off, we'll get you another staff member.
Yeah. Eventually, I'll be not frugal enough or whatever the word is to be like, I'll hire somebody.
You'll be less.
I'm just
of a
so
miser.
cheap right now because Elgin or whatever. Illinois doesn't want us to be a business really bad.
Illinois hates us.
How many fees have you paid yet? Not enough. We got to pay us more. I'm like,
Dude,
jeez.
so true. I just got hit with like
Illinois taxes are
those
insane.
photo light
Oh, the
bills,
red light
and I
things,
was
yeah.
like,
Well, you do well. You do a bit of speeding, but but yeah, I saw like an article the other day that was like Illinois residents are now like the highest tax of any state, and I was like, nice.
true.
I love Illinois too much to leave, but man.
Yeah. Anyway,
with that being said,
you
join our Discord, subscribe to our YouTube, like and comment. Let me know what you had for lunch. I care. I promise I'm going to respond to it anyway.
52% of you aren't the number's gone down, but 52% of you that watch our stuff aren't subscribed.
Nobody's subscribed. It's just Gabe and me.
We're so poor. We're poor.
You can also find our content on Spotify and Apple Podcasts for those that watch there still. We do have a few of you, so we do appreciate that. The fact that you guys are watching it all is awesome. The show will always be free, but all the other stuff just helps us kind of keep the lights on and grow the content for you guys in the future. With that being said, let's jump into, you want to talk about Modern first or Standard?
The Modern RC.
Modern RC. Okay, so Modern Regional Championship just passed. We recorded this episode a week late, actually, for those that noticed. Partially because this event was happening, and also
Jared
partially
noticed.
because, yeah, Jared definitely noticed. This was one of the reasons we waited. The other reason was that Frank and I both got sick at different times of the week, and we were dead.
Still getting over it.
So yeah, it literally still, like, I feel like I still have the hot flashes. But it was a bad week for us, and we were just like, yeah, we're skipping this episode, or we're going to wait a week. I also, for whatever reason, thought that the ban update was going to be yesterday.
Yeah, I thought it was yesterday.
And because today we're recording, it's, the 13th?
Today's the 11th.
11th. Yeah, today's the 11th. I thought the ban update was going to be yesterday. In my head, I'm like, yeah, they're really smart. They're going to wait for the RC and then do a ban the next week. It's 2 weeks away, apparently.
Yeah, I think it's the 31st is their ban announcement.
Which is only annoying because I think there is at least one weekend, technically, of RCQs that fall without the ban.
Praise be, I've got a show going on, so I can't even be there.
Yeah, so like I'm not going to post one that weekend, but any stores that do are still going to have the pre-bans. Also, like George Jabor tweeted out something so funny. I think it was like today or yesterday. It was like, this Underworld Breach deck is really neat. I can't wait to pick up the pieces for the upcoming Modern season. Like the RCQ season. It's like, that's so funny. But yeah, so Modern is in an interesting spot. Some people are arguing worse than last year. I don't agree, but I did have a lot of friends in the shop that were saying like, oh, I preferred Grief, I preferred X, Y, and Z. The One Ring still feels like everybody agrees was egregious, but I don't know. I think that because of how bad Modern was in 2024, I'm okay with where we're at now because it's contextually a lot shorter of a time period, but
Much
two,
shorter.
they gave us a lot of shakeups, and like even though Mox Opal unbanned, people are saying it's like a mistake because of Underworld Breach. Theoretically, like Underworld Breach shouldn't have been in the format this long anyway. It's 2 mana Yawgmoth's Will. Like the card is so cracked.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it's probably not as bad as it was last year because it just felt like I was actually thinking about it in my head. Like it was Nadu Summer.
Yeah.
And then it was Energy Fall. Mm-hmm. And then it kind of felt like for a little bit like it was Eldrazi Winter again.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like what my feeling was is like when we ban something else is like hard taken over, and this is just the thing after the One Ring.
More or less, yeah. And the unbans like obviously gave us some new tools to work with. I think arguably Green Sun Zenith probably was the strongest unban if you think about it, because like Breach was just gonna do its thing. It feels like no matter what.
Yeah.
They were playing that deck even before Opal. But
yeah,
Amulet Titan, I feel like, is gonna also get hit. Now that I look at the numbers from the RC, I'm like, dude, Titan might actually finally get attacked or finally get hit with a ban. Maybe we'll see. But I have been like on the ban Titan train for like years, from like 2015, 16 to like whenever they started printing Modern Horizons. I was like, why is this card legal? Pretty much all my friends and I would just be like, it's because the deck is so hard to pilot, probably. And it kind of feels like it's becoming true that WotC thinks the deck is too hard to pilot that they just don't ban it. Because like realistically, it's either the best deck or one of the best decks in like every modern format. It just like survives every like tier 0, whatever's going on. It just happens to be also a deck you can play. And sometimes it's the best deck, and those are like the really, really bad times. It feels like, I mean, times where Amulet Titan was like the best deck are some of the worst formats I've ever played for Modern, and it's so broken. But like I was saying, like because it's kind of complicated and hard to play, whatever iteration it has been, that you don't just get like free wins, you know. I mean, like Underworld Breach was definitely free wins. I don't know if you saw the tweet, but there was like the one guy that was like, shout out to everybody that's a carried bitch or whatever for playing fucking Underworld Breach. That was so funny.
I did.
He actually ran into Kowalczyk, our buddy that got 14th or whatever.
Was Will?
The guy got 11th. Will got 14th. They ran into each other on the feature match table. And he's like, hey, bro, shout out to not being a carried bitch.
What was Will playing?
Will was also on Underworld Breach.
Oh, sure.
But I think that guy was playing, I think he was talking shit about Storm players, the people playing Ruby Storm.
Oh, yes.
And then he was like, psych, I had Underworld Breach. But anyways, it was so funny. I had to pull up the tweet for like the full context again because I didn't really pay attention to it, but I just thought it was hilarious. Some of the interesting things I want to talk about for like why Amulet Titan is kind of crazy. If you look at the conversions, so
sorry, hold on before we get into that. Let's go and give them like what the breakdown was from the RC.
Sure, that's fine.
So the breakdown for day one, there were 23% of the meta was Breach with 310 players, 15% was on Orzhov and Esper Blink, then 12% on Eldrazi Ramp, 10% on Energy, Boros, Jeskai, Mardu, different variants. 6.8% was on Amulet Titan, 3.9 on Zoo, 1.7 on Control. Below that is Mill and other things. We don't have to talk about all those. And then conversion for day two. Breach had 30% conversion rate with 93 decks. Blink was 13.6%. Titan was 10%. Ramp was 9.6. Eldrazi Ramp was 9.6. Energy variance 8.6. Zoo was at 6%. And then Dimir mid-range was 2.7. Azorius Control 1.7. Again, I'm not going to talk about the rest after that. But that was what the meta was for day one and day two of the RC.
We posted this all in the Discord too for anybody that wants to see like the full breakdown. And if you are a patron, the link to the article with all the information is also in the podcast notes. But yeah, so looking at those day one and day two play rates for decks, I went ahead and just did my own like quick math on some of the conversions. I only did 5 decks, but if you look at the conversion rates, Underworld Breach had a 30% conversion rate to day two with 93 out of the 310 players. It went from 23% day one percentage to 30.9 or effectively 31% day two totality of the format, which is kind of crazy. How many like 31% of the room is playing this one deck after we cut out all like the day one players. Blink had a 19.6% conversion rate, 41 of the 219 players. Pretty respectable. It went from 15.5% to 13.6%, so a lot more reasonable. And then Eldrazi Ramp, something similar, 18% conversion, 29 of the 161 players. And then it went from 12% to 9.6% of the meta, also pretty reasonable. Energy, surprisingly, pretty reasonable, but I think I'm glad that this is the case because even though Energy had like really high play rates, I was just like, I kept saying how the deck is fine, people are overreacting, the Amp-Traptor ban was all it needed, and the One Ring obviously, but like everybody had that. Deck is fine, it's beatable, it's nowhere near Underworld Breach, which we talked about like a month ago on the podcast or a month and a half ago when I talked about like the state of Modern, and I'm glad that pretty much everything I said there is coming to fruition, minus Azorius Control making a comeback, but we can talk about that in a little bit. Energy, 18% conversion rate, 26 out of the 144. And then keep in mind for Blink and Energy, it includes, like Frank said, the different variants. So like there's Mardu Energy, Jeskai Energy, Boros Energy. They're all the same deck. So and then for Blink, it's Orzhov and Esper. That's the same deck. But yeah, so 10.7% of the room to 8.6. Amulet Titan, which is the last one I'm going to give you, 32% conversion rate. So technically better than Breach, not by much, but better. 92 players in day 1, 30 players in day 2. And it went from 6.8% of the room, and it jumped up to 10% of the room. Of like all the decks, only Breach and Amulet, I believe, actually jumped in percentage of the room after the day happened, unless it was like a deck that had like 1 or 2 players on it. I didn't do all the math, but I just feel like Amulet just continues to be this like low play percentage because people are scared to play it, or they don't know all the like the combos. Like there's that one guy that has like the 50-page synopsis on like how to play the deck, and it's like there's probably even more you could talk about for this one deck where like Breach is like, oh yeah, your hate pieces are in the main board. You main board the Haywire Mite, you main board the Chase, you main board the Grape Shot, and if they try to stop you, you say, haha, nice try. And that's just kind of how it goes when you're playing like a tier 0 deck, right? Bless you. It's just like, it's kind of like KCI. Like you would hate it out and they'd be like, what are you doing, buddy? Like, this is my format. And Amulet just kind of like gets away with it because people just can't play the deck. But the people that are really good at it are just like crushing. I didn't see how many were in top 8 or top 16 because obviously there was like 11 Breach players in top 16 or something like that.
Breach players in top 16.
Which was crazy. Like 6 in top 8, I want to say.
That was
but
so
I'm pretty
funny
sure
to me.
Amulet Titan was one of the top 8 decks.
I saw that Mengu posted when he saw like the 11 of 16. He was like, man, nice ban announcement.
Nice ban announcement. Yeah, somebody posted a ban announcement, like a screenshot, and it was like, something is getting banned. But yeah, I feel like obviously Underworld Breach is going to go. It's pretty just damned at this point.
Which I do think is unfortunate, just for what Fred said a few weeks ago about like prowess can probably never be played.
The copium prowess players that were like still on the deck lose their toy. It does suck, but like I don't think anybody's gonna miss Underworld Breach when it's gone.
No, except for them.
Yeah, except for like the 6 players. Yeah. But the thing that's I do agree. It was an interesting point. If you look, it's actually kind of funny. Star City Games made a post like, "What do you think's getting banned?" And all the comments were like, "Grinding Station," and I was like, "Ooh, yeah, it's definitely Underworld Breach." Like all Star City Games comments are fucking horrendous. Like it's always like the most fucking useless, like terrible take. Worst opinion.
That's so funny because that's how I feel about like Energy's Discord. Like, remember the few times that we popped in to talk about like standard and like people are like talking about like, does this belong in Pixie? And you're like, okay.
Blue Black Gearhulk was a Pixie.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's like there were so
because all the good Energy players are kind of in their own groups.
Right. All the people that like I feel like are grinding the Energy circuit aren't in the Discord talking about what's actually good and what's not.
Yeah, they're all in their specific teams, talking amongst their teams and honestly, sometimes when you're at that level, leaking your own tech is kind of bad. So
we need to just do our Boar's Head team already. I'm ready.
Yeah, for sure. I do want to do a Boar's Head team, and I'm just glad that in Tales from Tap we're all just like open info. We're like, who cares, man? Let's spread the knowledge.
Let's just get better.
Yeah, exactly. Who cares? But yeah, I just Star City Games comments always make me laugh. It's like it's just the most. It's just dumb shit.
Yeah.
And they were all saying like, "You're a grinding station," and I'm just like reading these comments like because I'm in the restroom, you know, just like it's a busy time, and it's just like, wow, what is going on here?
Wow.
And as soon as I saw that, I was like, solidified. Underworld Breach for sure. So yeah, obviously Underworld Breach goes, but I think I could see them attacking an Amulet Titan piece because the deck is just going to keep getting better. I told Julian, I was like, you might want to be careful. They might not do it this time, and you might get away with it the whole season, but then you have to prepare for the next RC, which is kind of what happened to him last time. He won the RCQ with Twiddle, which was basically a one-ring deck, immediately loses access to the one-ring, and then he's like, I'm lost for what to play at the RC. And he, even though he did well, he probably could have done better if he was happy with what his deck was. He went into the RC going like, oh, I don't really want to go. I'm just going to grind side events. We'll see what happens. So like the fact that he did so well, I was like, dude, you could have probably done this the whole time if you were just like happy with Amulet Titan. And he wasn't. But if that deck gets banned now as well, I'm like, bro, you're cursed, man. Like we got to find you. Like you just switch to Orzhov or whatever or something.
You got to move to Wakanda.
Yeah, you gotta move to some decks that are a little bit more fair. Stop picking the most broken thing in the room. Although Twiddle obviously wasn't that broken. He could have been playing Underworld Breach at that time with the One Ring as well, theoretically. Maybe he could have played Breach for this event too, but yeah, who knows? I just feel like
I understand.
Imminent Titan might also be a deck that gets hit because, like you said, whenever they ban a deck, they're like, well, what fills up the vacuum, right?
Right, and that's my hope is because and that's even something I was thinking about as we're talking because I was planning to pick up Orsov Blink, and I was like 50% win rate. Oh man, those are the kind of decks I want to play.
Yeah.
Even though I should just play a good deck, you know what I mean? I always have to play the 50-50 decks.
No, you're right. I mean, and Ketchumos is a hell of a card.
Yeah, but I do understand not wanting to play the deck that just doesn't do anything. Like I refused to pick up Nadu during Nadu season. So I was like, this just feels so.
Yeah. I mean, Nadu was just really, really boring. Really boring.
Yeah.
It's not that bad in Legacy, but man, in Modern it was just God terrible. Yeah, I don't know what the card would be. I didn't get enough time to think about it when I was writing the script for today. But
sorry, I didn't even finish my thought. What I was going to say is I don't know if I should pick up Blink because when they do the bans on the 31st, what will come into the format? Will Blink even be good anymore?
Blink will definitely be good. I was actually thinking they might theoretically, if Blink keeps getting better, it could be that Ketramos is too strong. Which is actually kind of crazy to think about, but...
Just picked up this card, and I spent how much on it?
Yeah, literally, bro. People are going to be mauled, but if Ketramos gets better, or if the deck gets better, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I when we did, the predictions, or the spoilers, I was like, this card seems sweet, but I don't know if it's going to be that good. Wow, it is... The card is great. Card is really, really powerful. And its interactions in the Orsov deck with Ephemerate, with Solitude, is it Bogart Trawler, the black flip land that just exiles?
Yes.
And then you're just like, cool, my guy's online now.
Exile your graveyard, I'm going to draw these cards.
Yeah.
And he's online.
And he's online, right. It does lose a lot of life as a deck, so Burn kind of has been making a comeback, which is funny. That's what Jeremy was playing at the event, and
You're just playing straight Burn?
Actual Burn is back because it happens to have a really, really phenomenal Orsov matchup.
That's
because
awesome.
They lose so much.
I thought
life.
he was playing Energy. My bad.
No, well, he might have in the actual RC, but I think he was doing also doing
LCQs.
LCQs, yes. He got pretty far in one of them, from my understanding, 4-1 or something like that. But
oh, that's so. I hate that.
Yes.
I hate last chance qualifiers, and you do stuff like that, and when you get that close, I'd rather lose on the second round.
Agreed. That's what I was talking about with your
or win. Because when I lost that RECQ in the finals against a deck that I was favored for, I was like,
yep. So I felt when you lost the 10 o'clock at Chupacabra, you were 1 and 2. I'm going home. I was like, well, at least it's 12:30, 1 in the morning.
Oh yeah,
and not 4 in the morning. You lost the top 8.
Right, and Adam Weiss was there, and he was 2-1 at the time.
Yeah,
and we both said to each other because we were sitting down sleeving up our decks, talking about the event, and it was his first time at the store, and I was like, let me tell you the secrets, because he was like, a few of these things are weird. I was like,
yeah,
yes. I was like, I only come here because I can only make these sometimes. But we're just talking, and we were both like, all right, we're either gonna scrub really early or we're gonna crush it.
Yes.
Sweet. I wish that for both of us. And I scrubbed, and I saw that he lost the next round. So he had to go 4 rounds and then lose. Which he didn't at least go to 5, but still.
Yeah, losing in the 5th. Losing in the 5th round to not make top 8. Yeah. That's probably the worst.
Yeah.
Because if you get to top 8, at least maybe you get the pin. Maybe you get some kind of prize support.
Right. Well, that's how I felt at when I recently had just lost I played blue white at Pastimes, and it was a top 4 cut. Oh, I was 5th.
Pastimes had a top 4 cut?
14 people.
That's rough.
I know.
Because usually Pastimes gets a good amount.
Yeah.
That's rough.
And all of them know.
And that's the one that Julian won for this past standard season. That was a lot of people.
Every single one now is top 4 cuts because we don't get enough people. The last 2 I went to, Pastimes and Chupacabra, were both
end of season ones. Yeah.
Yeah, top 4 because we can't get enough people.
I know. I'm so grateful that we got really good with we were really good with our timing. Schedule them early, get them in there, go. We were talking about it today. Todd and I were like, just schedule the next RCQs. Let's just go. I guess just to finish up the point, I don't know what would go in Amulet, but I could definitely see them attacking a card. I don't know if they'd ever actually ban like Amulet Vigor or Primeval Titan, you know?
Yeah.
But it is getting closer and closer to me where every day Amulet's just going to keep getting better. Well, Prime Time specifically. They're going to keep printing more lands in the format. You have like stuff like Shifting Woodland now, you know? For what it's worth, WotC did say, I think, some kind of announcement. I was talking to some of my guys that went to MagicCon. One of my judges was saying that they did kind of say we're going to slow down the print directly to modern stuff, which is why Universes Beyond are in standard now. But also, announcements with WotC, as we talked about, usually only last about 2 years. So at least 2 years before they announce Modern Horizons 4, which is still a long time away. So like, it gives us more time to like heal as a format. With that being said, I guess I could throw some predictions out there.
It's perfect because then by that time in standard, we're gonna have the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Oh, dude, I would be so fucking
Iron
happy.
Giant.
Yeah, I was thinking SpongeBob should have just been Foundations too. Like 5 years of SpongeBob, it's like all I need, bro.
You know what? The next Foundations is only gonna be like play booster stuff.
You know what they should have done as a card is now that I'm thinking about it is solitary confinement or whatever, like one of those cards where like you can't die, and it's like what's that guy's name with the no pickles? No, not the pickles guy. I'm thinking of something else. Man, there's so many good memes in SpongeBob. It was like the bully guy with like the fake mustache, and then he's beating up SpongeBob, and it's just him like, and SpongeBob's just like, wait, this doesn't hurt at all. He just keeps going about his day, and the bully's just like beating his ass, and nothing's happening to him. It's like that, like solitary confinement or some card that's like Warship. You know, you can't die.
Yeah.
Angel's Grace.
Oh, that's so good.
That should have been a card too. Now that I think about it, the Hashling and Slasher. Dang, they had so many good options.
Oh, there could have been some land card with him being on the It's a Rock.
Or like
on the giant rock with the pizza thing.
It's not just a boulder.
Yeah.
They could have even done like why don't we take Bikini Bottom and move it over there?
We could have had the silence be like when they're, you know, down in that underworld and they have to before every single time they talk. Where he's got that could have been silence. Put me on the team.
They gotta there has to be a follow up. They didn't do enough. I'm telling you, man. They should have just done it like one SpongeBob set a year every season of the show.
Yeah.
20 years of sets.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, ban predictions. Honorable Breach already. I don't think there's going to be other bans because I think that they are probably too scared to shake things up, and Breach is just such an easy target right now with like what the meta shares look like. I think Energy's totally fine. Eldrazi, for the most part, probably just fine. I don't think there's anything you really attack out of either strategy. Consigned to Memory just keeps getting better and better, and I think that's going to also be fine. Even though the Oculus decks kind of have a favorable, whatever that means, matchup against Breach.
Clearly, they didn't come to the RC.
Well, they suck against like everybody else, right?
Right.
So like I think Oculus now is going to like start kind of suffering a little bit because like as a mid-range deck, it's just not as good as what Ketramos is doing, or even the other Orzhov deck. There's like the Orzhov Necro deck that also has just started popping up, and you've got Terminus back in the format with like Azorius. I want to say Miracles, but it's just Terminus. And then they're playing JTMS, Small Teferi, Big Teferi, Path to Exile, Celestial Colonnade. Like who would have thought Azorius Control in 2025, the year of our Lord?
It's back, baby.
Yeah, it's. Maybe we'll see. I mean, if it keeps putting up numbers, I'll be happy. But I just think it's so funny, and like all the control players, like in George's Discord, are just like, I just bought my playset of textless cryptic commands. Jared placed an order because he's gonna be back next week. He's like, I bought your colonnades. I'm like, awesome, man. I can't wait to see you come play. I don't care if that's what you're playing. I'm happy for you. I mean, who knows? Maybe it's just playable now, you know? Well, we'll see. And it's funny because at the same time, it's also making a comeback in standard.
Right.
In a really big way.
Yeah.
Ride's End just kind of doing its thing. Not in Legacy yet. I really wish Legacy had a control deck. I was just talking to Slater about it. I was like, I want to play like a Beans deck or something in Legacy, and I really don't want to play like
Oh gosh.
some. I don't know. Delver is fun, but sometimes when I lose to, like these other mid range decks that are better at that like late game plan than you, I'm like, man, I wish I had like a top end card that wasn't Murktide.
And it's funny that you say that because when I did go and play like blue white control for as long as I like for that one weekend at Pastimes and did 3-2 and took fifth. I said I was like I had so much fun playing this deck today.
Yeah.
Because I've just been playing Pixie for so long.
Yeah,
and when you run out of gas, you're like.
And Pixie is literally like the Delver of the format, which is probably why it's doing so well and people keep playing it. It just kind of feels like that. I think Dom was here for Monday and was like, it's literally like the truest form of Magic. That it's Esper versus Gruul, all 5 colors of Magic, all 5 colors doing exactly what the color does in the decks that they're doing it in, and then it's Burn versus Delver, like the classicest of classic matchups. And it's really cool. I mean, I do like where Standard is. It's just some of the decks are crazy. To finish with the prediction, I guess, and I don't know if you have any thoughts on it, but because you have to play our RCQ season now, but I'm thinking it's going to be an Underworld Breach unban, and I think there will be unbans. I personally think Deathrite Shaman is not only the most impactful card they could unban right now in a good way, but I think it's finally time for them to unleash the beast. I keep saying it. I mean, it's funny now because when you talk about unbans, everybody's like, oh, unban this, and that. Like, I've been on that fucking train for like 6 years.
6 years.
All of a sudden, everybody's figured it out.
Well, and on top of it, too, like, if you look at it, I think that Mox Opal obviously has a place in the best deck, but I think that the deck was probably already good.
Yeah.
But Green Sun Zenith is making an impact and is not breaking anything. And
Titan definitely got a lot better with Green
But
Suns.
Splinter Twin has done nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. And everyone was like, ah.
Yeah. The same with JTMS when I got unbanned. I mean, I remember LSV was like, Bulbrid Elf, JTMS is huge. And then like JTMS did nothing and Bulbrid Elf was played in Modern for like 9 months. And like everybody got baited by Jace. And I was just like, nah, no thanks. Even Stoneforge, I was like, okay, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, I think to your point though, Birthing Pod, it's the same as Twin. It's not gonna do shit. Who would play it? Artifact lands, maybe they would get played, but like the affinity decks just need help. They're just unplayable.
They're on life
and
support.
Even if they all switch to artifact mana bases, they're even easier to beat. You're just like meltdown. Oh, see you later, buddy.
Or you're like Wrath of the Skies.
Right, Wrath of the Skies is like, oh, you don't have mana now? Like, dude, it's so bad already that Urza Saga just like dies to everything. And now you're gonna put more artifact lands in your...
It needs to, because decks like Titan that like, you're like, if they're not comboing, they're like, cool, just make giant dudes.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, like...
And you're like, I hate this.
Now think about Urza Saga in like a flimsy deck like Affinity, and they're just like, oh yeah, I can't do anything now. It's like Wrath of the Skies, blow up all your artifact lands, and all your creatures, and whatever hate spells you brought in that were probably artifacts. Oh, you have Urza Saga? Where's my Passager? Like... I don't know, man. I feel like it feels like they need help. There's a lot of good unbans they could do. I think for sure Deathrite Shaman is the one that I want to see. Anything else is just like bonus at that point. Artifact lands, even Dynasty Dig Through Time could like potentially come back. I'd prefer to see Ponder before Dig, but Dig Through Time being 2 mana is kind of a lot, and there's just so much free graveyard hate nowadays. Like, I think a lot of people actually complain about the fact that there's just so much free incidental graveyard hate. Yeah. DRS for me. If I had to just pick Underworld Breach ban, DRS unban. And then that's what I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring for that and then be wrong in 2 weeks. With that being said, let's talk a little bit about Standard before we wrap up the show. The Pro Tour just happened, and although the next RCQ season is going to be Modern, so Standard is going to take a bit of a backseat. It's not going to be for long because the format right after back to Standard RCQs. And by the time we do that, we'll be deep into Final Fantasy, because Final Fantasy is going to be the Pro Tour that Will's playing at. Tarkir is coming out in a month.
So good for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like, yeah, literally, because it's going to be a month to Tarkir.
Is it Vegas? He's playing in Vegas?
Yeah. Yes. Vegas Pro Tour. I'm so happy for him. A month until Tarkir, 2 months until Final Fantasy. I think Final Fantasy shortly after is when the Standard RCQs are going to be starting. So Standard's going to look different when the next RCQs start, but it's only going to have 2 sets of difference, and then rotation, I actually am not sure about. I keep telling people, I'm just like, whenever it happens, it happens.
I believe it's over the summer, but I don't know when.
I just don't know which set.
I forget if it's August or if it's June.
It might be Edge of Eternities, the space set that comes out after Final Fantasy. I just can't remember at this point. I wish they would just commit to just waiting until January and just letting people have Shieldred forever. Because like she's not even doing anything.
She's not even played anything.
She's right. She's not doing anything. So just let people have their $80 Shieldred.
She is too slow for the format.
Yeah.
Which is so...
Some of the decks can still play her, but like it's such an expensive card that to me it's like, listen, she's not doing anything right now. Just let people have her until January. Like it's fine. Nobody cares. But maybe Spider-Man's too good with something out of Dominaria.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out like what cards I'd want to see go.
Well, if you think about it, what's going to leave? We're losing Sunfall. I mean, we're losing a ton of artifact guys.
No one cares about Sunfall though. It's not even played anymore.
It gets played in the control and the domain deck.
It does, but it's like a one of.
Yeah, but like, Exile is so big.
I
feel like field nukes in general though are kind of down.
Well, everyone's going.
We're losing Leyline Binding.
That's pretty good. Yeah, Leyline Binding will matter a lot.
Well, domain is finally going to not be a deck after rotation.
Finally, because that was a big.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, I mean, like it was domain mirrors at the end for the championship, the Pro Tour.
Yeah,
and
that's
you're like, yeah.
Not gonna be Zur domain anymore.
That's the part that's actually the problem for me is Zur. Zur is disgusting.
Oh, he's leaving too. That's actually really nice now that I think about it. He finally did his job.
Yeah, I think that Zur made the Overlords just cuckoo cracked. Mm-hmm. And
it's such a good Pioneer deck. Just let it be.
Right.
It's cool though with the rotation coming up. A lot of these really cool standard decks are just straight up Pioneer decks right now.
Yeah.
So like it's an easy transition, you know.
I'm just trying to think of like what leaves though, because like you keep most of the other stuff, right? Like if you think about like Dimir midrange, what is that built around? I believe Spy God Siren, because it's in Lost Caverns, it stays.
It's good.
Floodpit Strong is from the new set. Enduring Curiosity is from the new set. Kaito is from the new set.
Yeah.
You're just losing the cut down, the removal.
The cut down is kind of a big deal.
It is a big deal, but like
because now you have only 2 mana removal and it's all conditional.
Yeah.
Go for the Throat's getting worse as well at the same time.
It is getting worse. People are going down on it.
Nowhere to Run is still a good card, but yeah, it's a good point. And not that much rotates out of the aggro deck either.
Yeah, the only thing that might get worrisome for me is that like, okay, legitimately talking about Tarkir, I really feel like if it's like traditional Tarkir and it's like soup set, where we don't have that for standard. And if we don't get
what do you mean by soup set?
Like it was really 3-color based.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, like if it's 3-color based, we don't have any of those decks really outside of like domain in standard. And so a lot of some of these good cards, we need either a mana base to support them to start making them into new archetypes, or they're just not playable.
I guess we'll start seeing that with 3-color decks maybe, because like if the format slows down a little bit, Surveil lands into Verges are pretty good mana bases for 3-color decks.
Yeah, no one's playing that right now.
Nobody's doing that right now because it's so fast. You have to play the fast lands. And it's like the most horrendous mana bases because you have to play the fast lands. Right. So when you're playing aggro, you're really happy. But even then, sometimes you're like, turn 4, Seacom Coast in my Pixie deck. Fuck, you know?
I've never done that before. I have no idea what you're doing.
What is that? I don't know a thing. Not everybody's good at everything.
Right.
But no, seriously, it's like, I hate it. I hate the fast lands so much right now. Dom was also making a funny joke because I was talking about how much I hate him. I was like, anytime I see a Serum Rose in a control deck, I'm like, absolutely, this guy has never drawn the 5th lands. So you need a Sunfall immediately and you hit Serum Coast. And he's like, yeah, I'm actively trying to take fast lands out of every one of my friends' decks. But yeah, standard rotation coming up. I don't know. We're gonna have to look at what actually leaves the format. But
did you see Brian Kibler's post?
I didn't watch the whole video, but I heard that he was talking about like banning cards or whatever. And when I heard banning cards in standard, I was like, okay, this guy's a crackhead. There's no way anything is banned.
He was talking about Beans getting banned and Monstrous Rage getting banned.
In standard.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a crackhead. I love Kibler, but like the format's totally fine. I was telling Gabe too. I was like, "Did you watch the Kibler video to Gabe right before he left today for Pioneer?" He's like, "No, I didn't watch." I was like, "Damn it! I wanted to watch the video, but I didn't get a chance to." I heard he was talking about bans, and I have absolutely no fucking way. Stop trying to ban shit out of standard. Like we're good. Like beans.
I remember when I was saying that I thought Atraxa might get banned, and she's not even played anymore.
Yeah, he was saying the same thing. He was Gabe was saying like when Atraxa came out, some pro made a point that was like, I don't think it's ban worthy, but man, why did this slip through the cracks and why is it standard legal? This should have been like a commander card. And in my head, I'm like, or not even in my head, I told you, I was like, these are boomers, bro. Like all these people want to play like, oh, I have a Tarmogoyf and you have a Dark Confidant, and like, oh, I'm flipping a Delver on turn 5. Like, fucking, like, they just want to play like the worst Magic cards of all time. All like, if you look at the 2014 Modern decks, they're just like fucking terrible decks compared to what we have now, even in Standard. Like, oh, I have one of Olivia Valderin in my Jund deck. It's like, why? Why do you fucking have that card in your deck? Oh, because all the cards fucking suck, you know? So, like, you can play this. And Atrexa's like a card where it's like, she's comparable to Gristlebrand, you know? Gristlebrand was like a good card back then, but like, she just does a lot.
Yeah.
She's 4 different colors mana. Like, I don't know. How much harder did you want her to be to cast?
And 7 mana.
I mean, like, I'm not saying there's no nuance and like she's not strong, but sometimes with these like old players that have been playing Magic for so long, I just feel like they're jaded. Like, why is this card legal? Oh, these decks are too strong, and it's like the future is now, old man. Like, just get with it.
How many times do I need to teach you this lesson, old man?
I just refuse to get upset about these sorts of things. I'm like, what did you want them to do? Never make new cards? You just want to you want Tarmogoyf to stay $200? That's what you wanted? You wanted vanilla creatures in Standard in the year of our Lord, 2025?
No. not us. Not this.
Like, I love Kibler. I love all these guys. Mad respect. And he might be right. Maybe Beans is too good. But, like, Atraxa, all these cards, I'm like, dude, this is just what Standard looks like now.
Oh, he just said, I don't remember the third card. I think it was 3 cards, but it was Beans.
It was Preacher of the Schism for sure.
And it was, and it was Monstrous Rage. Monstrous Rage and Beans were on the list.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, man. 3 pump power card that's been in every fucking Standard ever.
Well, I
too
think,
good.
No, I don't think that Monstrous Rage is a problem. What I think is a problem is when you can Monstrous Rage with like the entire deck double strikes practically because of Manifold Mouse. That's where it's like, oh, you're presenting lethal damage, like like modern speed burn. You know what I mean? Like, that's how quickly you're dying in Standard. And
like Monstrous Rage isn't the problem as much as Heartfire Hero has 3 lines of text or whatever. Like, like the dying and still flinging his damage at you.
Right. The fact that like I was with Adam Weiss as he was goldfishing, and he's like, well, if I do this and this, that's 24 damage turn 2, and that's like if you have the ley line out. Yeah, because he was playing prowess, but
that's ley line though.
But you know, I was like, oh yeah, because you can just do, you know, Monstrous Rage or turn inside out and then fling.
Yeah, turn inside out is another one. It's like Monstrous Rage ban, turn inside out, same card. Like, what's going on? And to be fair, like, that's Leyline. Like, that's like Christmas Land. You got to have it all, and then they have to also have like sit there. And that's if you went first, you know. So like cut down leaving, that's a big deal.
Well, cut down's only played in one deck now, though.
Yeah.
It's only played in the mid-range deck, which no one plays.
I guess people were like main boarding Elspeth Smites, but like, what other 1-mana removal do we have in the format right now?
None. Like, nothing, brother.
It's literally just that one bad Path to Exile. Manifest after you destroy their creature or whatever.
Yes.
Unwanted Remake. Yes. I remember the name of the card.
You did. Good for you. It's the 50th episode. We're finally getting it.
I'm learning.
So, Standard, I'll just give you a brief breakdown of what the Pro Tour was. It was 18.9% Grow Mice, 16.6% Esper Pixie, 15.2% Domain, followed by 6% on Oculus, 3.2 on Mono Red, 2.6 on Dimir Midrange, 2.6 on Dimir Bounce, 2.6 on Azorius Oculus, 2.3 on Golgari Midrange, and then 2.3 on Cage, and then the other 27.8% were innovating, but not really.
Maybe one of them.
Yeah, and
actually, Control didn't make it to the list here, right?
No, because
some of those 20% players are on Control, and those guys were crushing.
Because Control came after. Like, Control is like right.
No, Control got played the Pro Tour here.
Are you sure?
Yeah. 100% control got played, but the thing is,
I think there were 4 players.
they all got shit on in draft.
Yes.
So like the deck did really, really well, and
Yeah.
then they all got knocked out in limited.
Yeah.
That's why I was laughing so hard. I was like, of course, it puts up results, and I've been sipping for control, and then like not one of them has a good draft pool or something. Actually, one of our buddies, Kyle Gonzalez, from Nerd Rage, was in the featured draft because he was 7-1 day one. I felt so bad for him. He was 7-1, and I remember when he first started playing at Nerd Rage, I was still doing commentary for them like in 2015, 16. So seeing where he's out now, pretty proud. But like 7-1 into 8-8. Damn.
That is the most heartbreaking thing I've ever
Dude,
heard.
that's like I almost rather get a flat tire on the way there and be like, I didn't get to play day 2.
I couldn't play.
like that's what I would just tell people.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was 7-1 and then my tire, man.
That's the better story. That's what I would have told too. The top 8 was as follows. It was Domain, Gruul, Domain, Golgari, Gruul.
Go for you, Gugari.
1 Convoke, and 1 red deck wins. Which is just a similar
Just
version to the
terrible.
Gruul. Yeah, so it's like Gruul.
Good for you on that Gugari guy. He must have 3-0'd the draft.
No, dude, good for the 1 Convoke guy.
Yeah, but like Gugari, like it feels like we've been shitting on that deck for so long.
Because it is. It's terrible, dude.
He's playing aggro as well.
It says Golgari aggro. I'm trying to click on the list. It's not letting me.
Convoke, true. Yeah, that's a good point. It's like just got Convoke, right? Just like not good. Nesting bot, maybe? Is that what it was? Did he have that? I'm assuming. That'd be kind of cute.
Okay, it was the oh
was it the obliterated version?
no.
Because that'd be so cool.
No.
People were playing
no.
push
The
back with the
Golgari
obliterated.
aggro was the
Kaze Bronco.
no, it was the graveyard deck. It was the Golgari graveyard deck. Where it's playing like Seanoke Scout and like the Gnawing Vermin.
Yeah.
And the Molt Tenders and the Bale Mercs and the Souls of the Lost. Yeah.
Yes.
It's the graveyard list. Where
That
you're
is
like
so
playing
cool.
Overwhelming Remorse because like your whole graveyard's full. Yeah, that was the Golgari player.
Damn. I did not see that list. That's really cool.
Dude, it's super cool because I remember playing against it here at Standard that next week. And the dude, it was like, whatever, turn 3 or 4 where he's like, I'm going to discard a card and play my Souls of the Lost. It's like a 5-6. And this is like turn 2 or 3. And I'm like, I don't know how to beat that.
Yeah, see,
This card's giant.
Magic Boomers would hate that card. Oh, well, why am I not counting my card types in graveyard if you're going to have a 2-mana 5-6?
Those Goyf players, man. Those poor Goyf players. My cousin has a story of endlessly, like, he was given a Goyf, and it was like a specific promo of Goyf.
Yeah.
Worth $200-something, like $250 or $265 at the time. And this guy, Marlon, who was loaning him the card for this event, like locals, was specifically showing him how he should shuffle so that he doesn't damage his card. I was like, oof, those sounds like rough times, buddy.
Oh man, it's funny too because I remember being the boomer myself. There was a kid once at Nerd Rage. It was like 2016 or 17, and Josh is like, "I love that story," because this kid was like, "Tarmogoyf's like $70. That's so expensive." I was like, maybe it was like 50, like $50 at the time because it was already coming down. Modern Horizons, every fucking Modern Horizons, they're like, "We gotta print Tarmogoyf. What's a green mythic? They all suck. Tarmogoyf." Or they're on the reserve list, like fucking every green enchantment from like the Legends or whatever. But then I was like, $50, cheap, like expensive. These things used to be $250. What do you mean? Like this is a good price. You can get a playset for what one used to cost.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, wait, he was right, bro. They are too expensive. What the fuck? I can get a playset for $20 now.
That makes me feel like when
I think they're up to like $10 maybe.
when I first started playing Magic, and it was like after my first rotation, and I was still playing Sultai, and they printed in Theros Thoughtseize.
Yeah.
And I needed them for my deck, and they were $40 a pop. And I was like, and now I'm like, Thoughtseize isn't that expensive. What the? I was crying as a high schooler.
Oh, yeah, $40 Thoughtseize.
Yeah, I was
It was
like,
only $40 for a little bit. It did go down pretty fast in standard, but man, is it crazy to see Have you ever seen like a Japanese foil one from Lorwyn?
No.
I'll have AJ show you his one time. It's like thousands of dollars because it's JP foil from like back in the day.
Oh my god.
And Lorwyn Thoughtseize at the time is the only one that had the fairy artwork. Best artwork. Some of those Lorwyn cards, like Lorwyn Ponder, best Ponder. Unless they make a SpongeBob Ponder, that'd be so cool.
Caesar's Ponder. Get out of here.
Anyways, it's getting a little late. It is like midnight for us or something like that. I have no idea.
The only thing that he mentioned about standard that we didn't say is that blue-white control deck is actually come into the meta since. It's like the new deck. It's now for 5%.
Yeah.
Blue-white is back.
Ride's End is just a really good card. I think it's of all the cards that came into the Pro Tour.
It was the most played.
Big time though.
Thank you, Domain.
Yeah, and Domain. Ride's End was in 161 copies in main decks and 5 in sideboards. The next most played card that we got from Aether Drift, which is awesome because it's finally in the format. We've been asking for it forever. We didn't get it in Foundations, I'm pretty sure. Spell Pierce. Spell Pierce in Aether Drift, big deal.
Well, and that's so funny because
160 copies, 82 in main decks, 78 in sideboards.
I cried about that card coming back, and it hasn't really done anything. So, joke's on me.
What do you mean?
I cried when Spellpierce came back. I was like, no, it's gonna ruin it.
You thought it was gonna be too good?
So long.
Yeah.
I don't want it again. We just got to rotate.
It's good. It's just like it's helpful good. You know, it's like keeping some of these decks that are like, hey man, calm the fuck down. If anything, it's probably why field notes are so bad. Like a lot of these control decks were like 2 Day of Judgments, 1 Sunfall, and I was telling Julian, I was like, dude, what the like we were helping him with his control list, and we were like, man, maybe it is Overlord time. Like. You just need Overlords so they don't get spell pierced.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, to put that into context, Wastewood Verge, which is the black one, green, that's the third most new card. And then after that, it goes into Grim Bobble and Momentum Breaker, obviously, because of Pixie, just terrific cards. And then into Bright Glass Gear Hulk. Bright Glass Gear Hulk is the green-white one.
Yeah.
And that's the one that tutors for your guys. That's the one that they're playing in the Cage deck. Cage is really good, right? Just like a really good deck. I think Cage is underrated.
It is underrated.
Like it popped off when what's his name, Doomwake popped off with it at that one event, and I think Wiltleaf Leech as a card is really interesting because people were sideboarding Wiltleaf Leech in the control decks at the Pro Tour, like Wiltleaf Leech and Obstinate Baloths in their blue-white control sideboards. Like you can only cast the Wiltleaf Leech unless you get Fountain Port.
Yeah, and people,
just for Pixie though.
Well, people have gone down on that because, like, when I faced Will Kruger, I don't know if he was just trying to help me or was flexing on me, but after he beat me on blue white, and I had like both game 2 and 3, I was holding an Obstinate Baloth in hand. He after the game ended, he fanned out his sideboard.
All the discard spells
took out. And I was
That's so funny. That's smart though.
I was like, okay. Oh yeah, because I played against one blue-white player, and I did the same thing where I was like, I had Opal's Nightmare in hand, and I was like, you have one Obstinate Baloth coming in onto the board. And he went, played it, and I was like, okay, I lose.
After Bright Glass Gear Hulk, notably they also have Stock Up coming up. Stock Up is awesome.
Stock Up's awesome.
Really cool card.
I love that card.
People were playing it in Legacy in the blue Ancient Tomb decks. It's actually really funny. Bleachbone, and then a card that I did not expect to see getting played, Chandra Spark Hunter. Apparently just decent. People are playing her. She was one of the most played cards from the new set. And then after that we got Molt Tender, Bounce Off, Nesting Bot, Monument to Endurance, which is a really cool card that was in the Jeskai Oculus decks with FOMO.
Card's hot.
The new lands, obviously, Oil Deep Gear Hulk, Riptide Gear Hulk. So all the Gear Hulks getting played, all the lands getting played, Dredger's Insight. Really cool card. I just really like Aether Drift, man. There's so many cool cards in Aether Drift, and the set just gets hate because Muraganda. I don't fucking know, man. There was a video that I wanted to react to for like the YouTube channel. It was like why people hate Aether Drift, and I was like, oh, I should watch this later and like record my like take on it. But
yes,
like as like
do it for the pod.
But I wanted to do it without having pre-watched it, so I
sure.
could like live react to what he's saying and like really digest it.
Really digest how cringe it'll be.
Well, I don't know. Maybe he's got good points, but I didn't watch it yet, and I want to maybe do the same thing with Brian Kibler's thing. But at this point, it's kind of late. Standard's not gonna look the same as it is. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe it'll just be Pixie versus Gruul until they ban Beans and Monstrous Rage. But modern season's coming up. I'm not sure how to feel about it until the bans. I think the bans are gonna.
I'm not sure either.
The bans are really gonna dictate how I feel about it. But I really hope they just unban a couple cards. And Underworld Breach as a ban would be cool. Hey, if we're lucky, it's Underworld Breach and Amulet of Vigor. I mean, that'd be kind of sick. Keep Green Suns. I think Amulet of Vigor leaving would be fine. There have been primetime decks before that have cut the Amulet of Vigor and still been good. And they have Spelunking. Amulet of Vigor is just so messed up, and they've got Urza Saga. Man, the deck is just so consistent, and it's only gonna keep getting worse. Lands, like, they're not gonna stop printing good lands, just because of Amulet or Primeval Titan. But anyways, anything else you wanted to add?
No, that's it.
That's our show for now, unless Frank has some closing thoughts.
No, I was going to say thanks so much for tuning into our show for our 50th episode. We super appreciate it. Big shout outs first off to MTD Chicago for doing, I was going to say our intro and outro music, for doing, he helps us with this video.
Sal's our editor, and he does the thumbnails, and he takes all my weekly gameplay and posts it on his channel, MTG Chicago. If you want to see weekly gameplay from the board set, it's on there. If you want to get on the channel, come play in our weekly events. Sal's just a good dude, and also he drove me to Wisconsin and back.
So nice. We love him.
Didn't even ask for fucking gas money, man. I'm like, bro, can I buy you lunch or something? Nope.
He is the king.
He's so cool.
Almost as much of a king as Stan for saving me from I'm still mulling over all of what I was just saying.
I didn't even notice, honestly.
I was totally like, Sal's doing the...
Oh, for sure.
Shout out to Nancy Steroids for doing our intro and outro music. Please go ahead and check out his stuff on Spotify. He's releasing new stuff all the time and says that he gets a bump from our listeners. So
That's
please
awesome.
Go ahead and check him out. Shout out to Borsak Gaming for doing, allowing us to have our stuff here in the store. Can't wait to see you guys in the next few months as we get into the new space, which means new space for the podcast.
Just waiting for all that red tape, but we're getting there slowly but surely.
Gotta cut through it.
I finally have a not shitty landlord. The new guy is actually really helpful, so that's kind of cool.
Hope the landlord isn't listening to this.
Oh, the one here?
Yeah, I know he's not.
I hope he is. Subscribe. What's it called? Shout outs to our patrons as always. We appreciate you guys. You guys are top tier, obviously.
The top tier,
best.
The kings in our heart.
Really helps us get the content growing and improving, and we really want to improve the content for you guys, especially with how busy we are. It is hard for us to actually find the time to do a lot of it. So you guys make it worth it. And for the people that are just with us for the ride, thank you for watching. The show will always be free, and we just appreciate you guys there. If you want to, one last time, you guys want to subscribe, really appreciate it. It goes a long way. Any comments, any engagement at all, but a subscription just goes a long way if you haven't already.
And we'll catch you next time for probably the ban announcement and then some prep as we get into some Tarkir spoilers.
And
moving into Modern RCQ season.
And talking about what decks Frank's going to play for Modern. With that being said, that's our show. We'll catch you guys next time with episode 51. Most likely going to have to be talking about Tarkir. It probably is going to be the Tarkir pre-release episode. And yeah, catch you guys next time.
Have a good one.